Hello, everyone. I'm Father Scott Vanderveer. Happy 2022. As we start out on a new year, it's a good opportunity for us to consider all of the ways that God's grace has gotten us to where we are now. How is it that we have been able to persevere through all of the things that have happened to us? How is it that we've been able to make our way beyond all of the challenges and get to the moment that we are now in? It is natural, perhaps, for us to sometimes feel like we are not going to be able to overcome the challenges of the current moment we're in. But that ignores that we wouldn't be here if God hadn't been faithful to us in all of the years past. That it would be impossible for us to fail to acknowledge that God did not bring us this far just to leave us now. One of the things that Dorothy Day, the great woman who started the Catholic worker movement, who is in the process now of becoming a saint, a canonized saint of the Catholic Church, she talked about the value of keeping a journal. And she said the real value of journaling comes when you look back at what you were writing about 6 months or a year ago. She said, when you look back at the problems you were writing about 6 months or a year ago, and then you watch all the things that God has done between then and now, you see your problems evaporate. You see them disperse, almost like clouds on a day when the sun is breaking out, or a fog that is lifting. You realize that with most of the things that you have overcome, the major things that led to your perseverance were not necessarily you. They were circumstances that shifted in your favor. They were graces that you received, inexplainable synchronicities and moments of serendipity that allowed you to make your way from hardship, through hardship, to new challenges. In the longer version of the Serenity Prayer that we all love so much, many of us know the short version of the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, give me the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, in the longer version of that prayer, it goes on to say that we are called to accept one moment at a time, live one day at a time, recognizing that hardships are the pathway to peace. Isn't that an interesting thought? Hardships are the pathway to peace. The road to peace is paved with the bricks of hardship. What's funny is sometimes you'll see an older person who hears that and they'll smile, a knowing smile, because they know. That mysterious phrase, hardships can be the pathway to peace. They know that that's been true in their own life in very major, visible ways. So one thing that we could do as we begin a new year is take some time to consider what our future self, who has already lived through 2022, would say to us now at this point in our life journey. What advice would our future self give to us in the moment that we're in? What does my future self want me to know about God's grace and how I should face the challenges of 2022? What would my future self tell me about the virtues that I'm going to need? What would my future self say about how much worrying I should do? What would my future, more mature self, my wiser self, my self that has more life experience, that has lived through more, what would that version of me say to the person right now who may be overwhelmed by a problem or is feeling angry or resentful about a circumstance? They say that the very best way to do this activity is not just to think about it, but to write it down. Maybe for the same reason that Dorothy Day tells us that we should write our problems and then watch over the course of 6 months or a year or longer, watch them just evaporate in front of us. Maybe if we were to turn to our older, wiser self, we would be able to know that there is not one thing that life could bring us to that God could not get us through. If life can bring us to it, God can get us through it. That's something that's always true. Always and everywhere, in every circumstance. We will survive this. Or, as the saying goes, this too, even this, shall pass. I hope that 2022 is a year of tremendous joy for you. I hope that in the good moments of 2022, you and I are able to give thanks to God for all of the blessings. And in the bad moments, in the difficult moments, in the struggles, that we will be able to strengthen our trust and our reliance in God and in the goodness that God brings to each moment of our life. Happy New Year. May God bless you in 2022